And so when he came home, he asked me for some proof, and so I showed him this.
All right, let's see it.
Numbers 23. They had the horns of an ox, okay? They had the strength of an ox, all right? They had the strength of a buffalo. They had the strength of a unicorn.
What version is it that said unicorns?
The King James Version, because King James VI of Scotland, whose national animal is the unicorn, became King James I of England, and any chance he had to interject unicorn imagery into his version of the Bible, he took it.
So while King James VI of Scotland did introduce unicorn imagery to England when he became King James I of England, and unicorns remain a part of the national symbolism of the United Kingdom, King James changed absolutely nothing in the King James Version. The King James Version is a very conservative revision of the Bishop's Bible, and King James himself had very little to do with the verse-to-verse translation. He introduced a number of rules for the translation companies, including the fact that they were not to have any explanatory notes apart from whatever was necessary to clarify the meaning of the Greek or the Hebrew. And he also insisted that they use what he called the ecclesiastical terms. So words like church and priest, because William Tyndale had moved away from that and used words like congregation and elder to make it less institutional sounding. And so we can look at the Bishop's Bible in Numbers 23, verse 22, and as you can see in the red box, they rendered unicorn. Now, the Bishop's Bible is revising previous English translations. One of the more prominent of them was the Geneva Bible, and we can see in Numbers 23:22, God brought them out of Egypt. Their strength is as an unicorn, using the V to represent the U sound. And the Geneva Bible itself revised earlier English translations. For instance, the Matthew Bible, as you can see here, they don't have verse numbers at this point. Verse numbers were added around 1551-ish, so they didn't have them in any translations prior to that. But you can see in the red box the word unicorn, and we can go back to Coverdale's translation of the Old Testament from 1535. Same thing, we've got unicorn here, and we can go back to Tyndale's translation of the Pentateuch, which was published in 1530, and you can see here, while it's spelled very differently from how we're used to seeing it, unicorn is in this precise verse. And we can even go back to the Septuagint, which was probably rendered in the late 3rd century BCE, and there they translated the Hebrew re'em, which probably refers to an ox or maybe some kind of buffalo. They rendered monokerotos, which would mean one horn. And when we get into the Vulgate around 400 CE, Jerome chose rhinoceros as the rendering, but later English translations were influenced by other previous translations that were based on the notion that monokeros referred to this mythical creature that came from the east, from around the Indus Valley, the unicorn. So the introduction of the unicorn to the translations of the Bible into English has absolutely nothing whatsoever to do with King James or the King James Version. It long predated that and is based on an attempt to try to make sense of the Hebrew, which was using a word they didn't clearly understand, and the Greek, which was using a different word that could be understood to refer to a couple different things. And some translators just decided to side with a reference to this mythical creature. And the fit for this video has been NASA.